Okay, I want progress. I'm a true progressive. So in that sense, yes, I'm very liberal too. That I just want the freaking problem solved. I don't care who says that they won. Great, but all of us win. All the socialists, good socialists, all the good capitalists win. All the good liberals win. All the good conservatives win. All the good Democrats win. All the good Republicans win under my plan. That's it. And if you're opposed to that, my God, you don't see how you're evil. You're going to let your political swings override your spiritual swings. You're going to be faithful to who? Who's the government? I mean, what are you talking about? I mean, people don't even know what the hell they're talking about. Doctors and I'm this and that and the next thing. You know what? Listen, man. I mean, you're going to give account. You're going to stand before, oh, dear Lord Jesus, I'm a doctor, this or that, and you've got to respect my prestige. And to me, it smacks of elitism, like a spirit that somebody hasn't conquered when they feel a need to be called doctor. Okay, because if I had a doctorate, I would insist that people not call me doctor, just because I don't want to be put on a pedestal or be anything special. Who wants to be better than anybody else? That's stupid. Okay, because when we dehumanize others and we think of others as less than us, we only achieve dehumanizing ourselves. To dehumanize ourselves, that's all we accomplish. Because God is the judge. He's the one that is not. We don't get to judge ourselves on Judgment Day, okay? And the people don't get to judge us. It's God that's going to judge us, our owner. So it's a big deal that people get right in their hearts and minds what this salvation business is all about, and take it very seriously, and understand once you see the light, then you've got a responsibility to take that cross on your back and go out and share that light with others. And remember, it's not a heavy cross. Like Jesus said, those that trust in him, those that fall on the rock of their salvation, his yoke is easy and his load is light. I mean, the burden is light. He doesn't want us to. That's why I talked with, yes, I'm fine to be born with a silver spoon in my mouth. Aren't you? Why are you okay? Why is anybody okay? You're going to slam this idea of a universal basic income so nobody has to live in insecurity and fear and a lack of freedom from birth, okay, because of the money master misery. You're going to defend that paradigm, that pattern, that reality. And then you're going to say, well, but it's okay that, Donald Trump kids they didn't do anything for those billions, but we all know they're going to inherit it, or, the Rothschilds or Rockefellers, or on and on and on and on. Right? That's fine. You're fine with that. I see no problem with inherited wealth. No problem. But they didn't do anything. You understand this point? Well, you say, well, why would you give it to the average person? Why are you going to give them the wealth? And why this and that and the next? Well, because the earth is partly theirs, thus saith the Lord. That's why. It has nothing to do with communism or socialism or any kind of other ism out there, okay? Marxism or capitalism or nothing. It's just a biblical truth. It's a thus saith the Lord thing. That's why you do it. And you do it so that we can live as a family in peace and safety and security and full prosperity, man, coming out our wazoo. But could you imagine all those people I've talked about losing their jobs, but not having to fear, because remember, what plan is at hand here? Nobody is going to go and want. Not if there's plenty for everybody. And then there becomes more and more plenty because everybody starts doing useful jobs, and we start working really, really, really short work weeks because there's just no sense in making more stuff than we need. When you can have vacant housing anywhere in the world you want to visit for any amount of time, there's a vacant house there waiting for you. That's landscape. The gardeners are taking care of it. That's house kept. The housekeepers are taking care of it. Do you understand? That's the reality we can have. Believe me, God has shown me plainly. He'll show you too. I'm everybody's friend. That's a choice you can make too. That's it, man. Nobody has to be afraid, okay, of God having his way upon the earth and his will being instituted upon the face of the earth. And that's what we have to understand. We've got to just say, wow, what a dramatic change that would be. Could you imagine all those people whose jobs are relevant now but would be utterly irrelevant? We just ended desperate poverty. That one thing. And how we'd have a kinder, safer, gentler society. And how you'd have so many more rich people too. Because think about it, like I pointed out, all that money flowing into your local communities, People that couldn't afford to get their car fixed can, that couldn't afford to buy this or that item at your store, now they can. They couldn't afford this or that service, and now they can. Can you imagine that? Just imagine. So I know what I'm talking about, my friends. I am studied. I'm researched. I mean, I always say, look, you're going to learn a lot more just doing your own research. When you're really on fire to learn something, you'll learn the crap out of it on your own. And it's better research than you're going to learn at any college or university or for any professors out there, because it's not secular. It's not tainted in that sense, where these people have a curriculum they got to shove down their pupils' throats. They got to walk the straight and narrow because they're being overseen, right, by the dean or the deacon, whoever, is their boss. They just like these people, these reporters and journalists on the mainstream media with multi-million-dollar contracts. You spew what we tell you to spew. And don't talk about this. I know this is a mountainous, subject here, and people will be very interested to know about this subject, but we're going to turn this thing into a molehill. And even if we put a little blurb, because the public's going to get too suspicious if we don't even put a blurb out on this thing, we're going to make it a little blurb, and we're going to put a spin on that little blurb that we put out about that mountain, and we're going to turn that mountain into a molehill. Okay, you get how that works? They tell their journalists, their reporters, that's the propaganda scheme here. That's how it works. That's how it operates. Now you're on the inside. You got your multi-million-dollar contracts. So be a good boy or girl. Walk the straight and narrow. And, just remember which side your bread is buttered on, and everything's going to be fine. Don't rock the boat, and you'll lose your job. Okay, and also they want you to make a mountain out of a molehill. It reminds me of a biblical passage where Jesus said, you hypocrites. You strain out a gnat, you swallow a camel. You tell your brother, you say, let me take that speck out of your eye, when the whole time there's a plank stuck in your freaking eye. And that's how it is. That's how it is with the hypocrites. That's how our reality is. Do you understand? I mean, it's just maddening to think of the caliber, the mentality of people that are running roughshod over humanity, running our lives. They're evil. That's how they are. I mean, that's how they run the show. That's how they stay in control and stay relevant. Is they control these institutions, the educational institutions, the mainstream media, the cutting edge institutions. So they're in charge of the education or diseducation, miseducation, mal-education, malevolent. Okay, this is the whole idea. They're diabolic. Okay, diabolism is their religion. That's who's at the top. The grand puppeteers, the kingpins that want to keep the establishment status quo in check, keep this trajectory toward the third world status, ever growing wealth imbalance. I mean, somebody tell me where it stops, where the poverty ends, where it ends, that people's hopes are dashed ever reaching middle class home ownership in California. Where's it going to end? You tell me how. How are we going to solve this problem? Is it a problem for you, or are you okay? Are you indifferent? Are you complacent because your numbers still look good? So you're happy, you're financially free, and you're financially secure, and all's well in your little world, and your little world won't let you go, and it hurts your head to think about it. Ignorance is bliss and all that. Okay, just bury your head in the sand and divorce yourself from other people's problems. And you're not worried about standing before God on Judgment Day. You're not even sure you believe in God. You're just an agnostic and just wishy-washy and whatever. That's your attitude. I mean, where do you think it's going to get you? It's going to land you. I don't want your blood on my hands or head, but this is tricky business, man. You got to care about your own salvation. You got to care about having substance within you and being who you really want to be deep down in the marrow of your heart, your soul, your spirit, your mind, not superficially, egoistically, vainly, in a conceitful manner, topically. Okay, no, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. And I wouldn't be your friend if I told you could do that. It's going to get you a one-way ticket to hell. I don't know where you go from there. It's the only fair thing. See, it's not fair for the decent, upright, righteous people of the earth, the meek, like Jesus said, those that inherit the earth, to have to contend with bullies that always need to have an advantage over them. And that's what this monetary-based unreality does. That's it. It's satanic. The power is vast power. That's what money is. It's the ambrosia of Satan. Okay, without it, he'd be neutered. Without it, he'd starve to death. And that's what we're looking forward to. That's what the decent, upright among us are looking forward to. Okay, and it is not difficult. A child can understand living in a world that has no money. Okay, just think of it. Think of the need for it evaporating, dissipating over time. That's it. Through the opposite of the direction we've gone for decades upon decades, which is cost of living inflation and currency debasement, just like a scale, joined at the hip. Cost of living goes up, the worth of your money goes down. Okay, so what is the opposite of that? The cost of living goes down and your currency increases in worth relative. It's all very simple. Tell me how a child cannot understand that. So how are we not all responsible? And just have to admit we're being intellectually dishonest by our own free will choice to be liars, to be satanic like that, because this is the father of all lies that we've been listening to, that we've been deluded by, okay, that we've been deceived by into believing that somehow there's going to be a political solution to the economic and social woes that we're experiencing. Somehow this is going to work, when all evidence is shouting the other direction. Oh no, my gang gets in. No, my gang. And yet, if you look at on a graph, if you look at the trajectory, it keeps going down. Okay. And so, what do we? Every man for himself. That you're prescribing exactly to what they want you to. Social Darwinism, dog eat dog, rat race, cutthroat, increasingly so. Hyper competitive for the labor class, and that's okay because these are unskilled workers, even though we're going to just ignore the fact that these people are doing jobs that are imperative to the welfare of society, to the existence of the welfare of society as we know it. But yet these are people that we find worthy to marginalize and subjugate and accept them getting lower and lower wages, okay, because that's the net effect. If they don't get commensurate cost of living adjustments, there's no difference, mathematically speaking, than if they got a pay decrease. So people say, but minimum wage has been going up over the years. What are you talking? I say, relative to the cost of living, it's been going down. It's math. You cannot argue the facts, the statistics, the math, the science. The point is clear, unless you just choose to be dishonest. That's it. That's the only way you can argue with it. Continuing here. Yeah, so people that, are opposed to this idea of a universal basic income, which I am a big proponent of. I just want to thwart these a-hole bankster class and politicos any way I can, okay? And if it's just a temporary measure, fine, so be it. Until we demand, but we've got to demand sound economic policy, sound currency, we the people. And there are no checks and balances in place. There's no ability for we the people, the only legitimate government, to oversee these rascals, okay, from just dumping money on us and putting us in debt. This is how they steal our wealth. This is it. The cost of living inflation, tax, currency debasement. This is the tried and true way. They create the wealth imbalance, and as long as it goes into all these people's pockets, a critical mass of people that are the deciders, that are deciding the direction the ship takes, as long as they're in charge, this is the way it's going to go. So I'm for whatever it takes, okay, to get the job done. And so hey, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. So if it's good for people between 18 and 62 to not receive any help from the government, then what's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? So let's get rid of it for the seniors. Why not? I mean, unless you want to be an ageist where you're age discriminating and saying, well, this and that, these people are weak and feeble. So what is that? You saying people that are 62 are weak and feeble? Hell, I'm almost 62, 60 years old now. Over 60, I'm 60 and a half years old. So, am I weak and feeble? Try me. I've been landscaping for 40 years, okay? I'm a tough guy, and it's not the kind of toughness you get from going to a gym. It's a whole nother kind of toughness, let me tell you. Okay, it's the real deal. So I'm just saying, look, no, you're discriminating based on age. That's a very un-American thing to do. So, just put that in your pipe and smoke it. Otherwise, you should just be saying we should get rid of Social Security. No, not cut Social Security. Just get rid of it completely. Just like Section 8 housing. What's good for the good? I mean, if homelessness is okay for some people, then let's make them all homeless. Why not? Oh, well, it's women and children. I mean, how dare you say Well, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Again, you can't have it both ways. You can't have your cake and eat it too here. So make up your mind, okay, what we're going to do. But under the current situation, things just keep going downhill. The trajectory just gets worse and worse for the people that need it to get better and better the most, okay? And we've got big problems. We're in it deep because it's going to be traumatic. I don't know what it's going to take to wake people up. Very act of God. It's going to take something huge like this giant bowling pin shaped meteor that's going to be, I don't know what's going to happen there. I don't know what the thing, that's a weird looking thing. Maybe God's some kind of hammer of God. He's showing the evildoers, hey, you know what? I've got the ability to just destroy the entire planet if I choose. Because that's what they say. I mean, some of these scientists will tell you, hey, even if a little meteorite hits in the right spot in the ocean, it'd cause such a tidal wave, it would destroy all life on